Now, last night wasn't quite the result that we Brits hoped for when it comes to Eurovision, of course, but one real highlight of the evening, and it was something magical, I think.
It was.
Was when they, at the very beginning of the show, and they played Ukraine's winning performance from last year, with all special guests in it and all the rest of it. And who should pop up playing the old piano but the Princess of Wales?
And for those who missed it, let's take a quick look.
See, it was so brief. It was so brief, but just so lovely, I think.
It was enough for you to go, oh, is that the Princess of Wales?
Yeah.
Literally enough for that, and that's all she needed. It was perfection, wasn't it?
It was perfection. Let's see what raw writer Michael Cole makes of it all. Morning to you, Michael. I don't know, it was just that little bit of stardust, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Good morning, Stephen. Good morning, Ellie. I mean, what a coup. They kept that secret. I mean, it wasn't quite up there with the Queen and Paddington Bear, but it was pretty good. And as you said, Stephen, not long enough. And of course, we all noticed that lovely Jenny Packham gown, Ukrainian blue. I mean, that girl, she doesn't take a bad photograph, does she, the Princess of Wales? And of course, she's a great admirer of, she never met her, the Princess of Wales, the late Princess Diana. And of course, Diana did something a little bit like this back in 1988. That's 35 years ago. She was visiting a music conservatoire in Melbourne, Australia, and she was more or less ambushed and asked to play the piano. And she did. She did about 8 or 9 bars of Rachmaninoff's Second Piano Concerto, which is not for mugs. And she did it very, very well. So that was a nice coup. And it set Eurovision off on its merry way, than which there is no equal. If you like that sort of thing, that is the sort of thing you like.
Oh, it was absolute perfection. It really, really was. Michael, do you have any behind-the-scenes secrets for us? Because this is all kept very secret from us from the palace.
Yeah, how do they manage that?
Yeah.
They're pretty good at that. And, of course, she also, the Princess of Wales, when she was the Duchess of Cambridge, she played at a Christmas Carol concert. That was a little bit longer. We'd rather have had a little bit more than that. It's a shame we didn't. Perhaps we'll get the rest of it. Apparently, it was a piece of work that was written for her to play it on this occasion. So we can't long hum it. We didn't have enough chance of that. But I don't know what you think about Eurovision. I mean, to my mind, in 67 years of Eurovision, there has been only one song of any merit at all, and that was Volare in 1958, sung by Domenico Modugno, and that was a worldwide hit, and people still play it, and people still love it. I personally can't remember a song since then. I remember I interviewed Sandy Shaw when she came back from another losing Eurovision, and I said to her, haven't we had enough of these puppet in a box songs, because we'd had puppet in a box and Jack on a string and all of this stuff. And, you know, we never seem to manage to get a song that, I don't know, is a real song. It's something that will enter the repertoire and stay with us.
Oh, Michael, I'm very disappointed. Jack in a box, puppet on a string, just for the record. But no, marvellous. It's a fabulous competition. It's all about fun and frivolity and letting our hair down a little bit. But I mean, look, we all have different views on it. But what I think is quite nice is that with this new Carolean age that we're in, that although it is known to be now a bit wacky and a bit weird, we had the King and Queen there this week. We've had the Princess of Wales performing last night. It is the fact that whether they personally love it or hate it, they are getting involved in something which excites the people. And that's an interesting connection.
Yeah, absolutely right. After the coronation of last week, and then we have this festival. I mean, Liverpool can't claim that they're being left out. I mean, it's a great thing for the whole of the West, a great thing for Britain, and it was put on beautifully, and it was well done. Incidentally, I've got a piece in the Sunday Express today which reflects on the coronation of last week and said that the key moment, I don't know whether you two agree with me, was when Prince William leaned forward, Prince of Wales, and kissed his father's cheek. And before that, the king had looked, to my mind, a little bit uneasy, even a sort of slightly tetchy, as the bishops were circling round him and he was invested with the orb and sceptre, the symbols of earthly power. But at that moment, he sat back and he smiled, and there were sort of tears in his eyes, because I think he felt very, very, very strongly that the succession was sure. That Prince William was there to continue the House of Windsor when in due course, when he becomes king in due course, and that was very, very important. And I think that was a key moment. I also say in this piece, and I don't know how you would feel about this, but I think magnanimity is never a bad idea. Winston Churchill said, in victory, magnanimity. Well, it wasn't a victory for the king, but he was triumphant and he was majestic, and he is the king. And I think it would be wonderful if he were to restore posthumously the title HRH, Her Royal Highness, to the late Princess of Wales, because it would cost nothing. It could be done by letters patent. That title, honorific title, was stripped from her on the day she became divorced from Prince Charles, as he then was, in 1986. And I think if that were restored, and it could be done, it would be applauded. The king would be widely applauded, and a lot of people, and not just Diana fans, but everybody would see that as an act of justice. In tribute to the king, because I think when King William succeeds him, if and when he succeeds him in due course, I think that will be one of the first things he does to honour his mother, whose presence is still with us.
Well, maybe so. It's an interesting point for debate. Michael, good to see you this morning. Thanks very much indeed.